All right, we were just watching Bill Asayu, the acting U.S. attorney there in the Central District for California, who was announcing charges for the alleged arsonist of what became the Pacific Palisades fire, an incredibly destructive fire, historic in nature, that claimed the lives of 12 individuals. There, the federal authorities and the DOJ announcing a charge of 18 U.S.C. 844 F1, which is destruction of property by means of fire, i.e. arson of federal property. Now, those authorities discussed at length the amount of evidence that they included to support this charge, including GPS and cell data, placing the suspect at the scene, including multiple 911 calls from the ignition area, watching the fire grow, and even allegedly ask ChatGPT, are you at fault if a fire is lit because of your cigarettes? Now, this individual filmed the fire and the firefighters afterward, behavior consistent with arsonists. And some of the evidence included a lighter with his DNA on it, in addition to conflicting statements and witness observations of his agitated state. Now, the fire initially set was known as the Lackman Fire, as those authorities described, and that burned 10 acres initially, what then grew into 202 acres of federal land and multiple historic structures. Now, note, the mandatory minimum here is 5 years in federal prison, 20 if no deaths resulted. However, if deaths occurred, and again, 12 lost their lives, then that could be up to life imprisonment or death. And I think it's important to underscore for you viewers at home that they're the U.S. attorney saying this is just to get him arrested. There's an arraignment today at 1:30 is my understanding, but from there they will present evidence to a grand jury and future charges will be forthcoming that, in my opinion, hopefully includes murder. Now, I want to bring in Samantha Ettus, a mother of 3 teenagers who lost her home in the Pacific Palisades fire. Samantha, we're so sorry for the loss of your home and for so much trauma you've endured. What does today's announcement mean to you?
I would love to say that it means complete justice is served, but that is not how we feel. I think that when you have an arrest like this, yes, it's nice that we have done something to show that someone's responsible, but the real people responsible are the sort of people, the government, who is behind the infrastructure that failed an entire town. So when you have 7,000 homes destroyed, you cannot blame that on one man. You have to blame it on the fact that that day, 33% of fire trucks were not operational. The reservoirs were empty. There were so many failures at the government level that led to an entire town being decimated, and you can't pin that on one person.
And it's my understanding, Samantha, that you moved, but to a home there still in LA County. So what has the aftermath been like for you and your neighbors as you navigate being let down in such a horrific way by, indeed, the state and local authorities? How are you rebuilding your lives, and how are you trusting to move forward that this won't happen again?
Well, it wasn't just our homes that were lost. It was an entire community. It was your friends, your neighbors, your childhood memories. They're all gone. And so everyone has scattered to different parts of Los Angeles, different parts of the world. And the aftermath is trying to rebuild. It will probably take us, at this rate, about 5 years to rebuild, which is what we're doing. But I think 1% now of the homes in the last 8 months have been rebuilt, or now it's 9 months. So it really is not a fast process. This is a bureaucratic nightmare. I actually think it provides a warning for other cities. When you look at a city like New York that is about to elect a mayor with 0 work experience, Zoran Mamdani, you have to look at a city like LA and say, what happens when you have an incompetent mayor? This is what can happen. And I think it provides a warning for people who are involved in elections in other cities. You don't want to have a system break down the way Los Angeles broke down in January.
I read, Samantha, your description that it still looks like Pompeii. You know, this level of devastation and destruction that, frankly, I think you can't appreciate unless you're there in person. And to still have it be that way, and to your point, for years, arguably, it's just simply unacceptable. I have one final question for you, and that is, how are your children doing? And how are the kids of your neighbors and loved ones doing as they have navigated the horrific trauma in the wake of these events?
I would say short term, everyone, knock on wood, is doing really well. I think it affects everyone differently. I had a child in college, and it probably in some ways affected her the most because she wasn't with us at the time and just got a call that everything has been lost. We didn't get to take anything with us, so I think it was just a shock. But I think we're all coping in our own ways. I mean, I'm someone who just likes to keep moving forward and not live life in the past lane, but it's definitely going to have an impact on them. I always say, I wonder what the impact will be in 20 years. You just have no idea. I think it affects every single child differently, and we just do our best to move forward.
Yeah. Samantha, we are praying for you. Our heart goes out to you and all of your neighbors for those losses, and especially those who lost loved ones. And just know we'll continue supporting you in this aftermath. Thank you for joining us. All right, I want to bring the conversation back to the couch. So, Charles, you and I were talking a moment ago. We remember the Bronx Club fire that was in 1990 here in the city, where their malicious individual set fire to the club and 87 individuals died.
Right.
Now, he was charged with 87 counts of arson and 87 counts of murder. Do you anticipate here, as we've now heard that there's one count, one federal charge of arson, will we expect more to arise out of this?
I would agree with you and the conversation we had that obviously we want to see that. We hope to see that. And I thought your interview with Samantha was fantastic. And she kind of brought it back home, right? You obviously want, that's part of justice. If you could think of justice as a glass half completely full, that would fill it to a certain degree. But the other part of this is these families who were let down, you know, by the city, by the mayor. You know, I went on their website before I came down, and in Los Angeles County, there have been 2,112 applications to rebuild. Only 500 have been approved. In Malibu, 155 applications. They only have approved 3 permits so far, just 3. And so not only did they leave everyone vulnerable, but even to this point, you know, the pain, the agony, wanting to rebuild, wanting to move on with life. She had a great, you know, spirit, but not everyone's going to handle it like she does, and you understand why.
Yeah, that's right. We have a dear friend who's going through that process, and it's horrifying to watch your fellow Americans who went through such loss and devastation then have to fight with insurance companies to somehow recoup what they just utterly lost. Kaylee, you were reading through that federal complaint. What stuck out to you?
This was a very deranged individual. The things that he told AI were jarring. For instance, after he had presumably lit this fire, he made multiple attempts to call 911. He actually screen recorded his attempts to call 911. So certainly seems like he was trying to lay the groundwork of, you know, him being a bystander rather than an arsonist. To ChatGPT, he said, "Are you at fault if a fire is lit because of your cigarettes?" So once again, trying to kind of frame exactly what had happened. This is very jarring. This was on November 1st, 2024. Here's something that he also asked ChatGPT, maybe like, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago or something. I literally burnt the Bible that I had. It felt amazing. It felt so liberating, is what this suspect said. But what really stood out to me, to the point of what the guest said, is the total failures of government. We heard multiple times in that press conference about the underbrush, about the vegetation, about this fire smoldering. And when you look at back in 2018, the Woolsey Fire Report, what you find is this, that there was all kinds of mismanagement of that fire. President Trump was president at the time. He talked about fire management. He talked about forest management. That was unaddressed. You had someone who warned you in 2018. You have an after-action report. So why didn't you do anything about it? Because a bunch of people died, and it seemed like it was totally preventable.
Yeah, and Laura, to that point, as a Californian, we all know someone, at least one person directly affected by these fires. And there's a pattern, right? So in NorCal, there's so many fires where incompetence at that structural level and PG&E and whatnot were all revealed, and clearly nothing changed, and people keep dying for this. And my question is, we've now learned that the governor of California, in his infinite wisdom, who led to those decisions, and the water resources were low and nothing is operational, well, now he's failing to give raises to firefighters, but there's $300 million available in the coffers to redistrict congressional lines. It seems that the priorities in that state, my point is, are so off. They're not serving the actual Californians whose lives are at stake.
Yeah, they're off and they have failed. And by the way, Kaylee, to your point, when President Trump, don't forget, went out to California in 2018 and surveyed the damage from that fire, he talked with Gavin Newsom about doing something about the forest management, and he was mocked for it. He was ridiculed for it. When you hear these people saying, these officials saying, listen, it was smoldering underground and then it reignited, you wonder, Kaylee, could that have made the difference if they had actually addressed it? You're right, though, Emily, to see that you have the governor of this state vetoing a bipartisan bill to give raises to firefighters. These men and women were the only thing that kept the structures that were still standing there. Vetoing that bill and then spending this frivolous amount of money on a political pursuit to potentially redistrict California, it's outrageous. And either you're going to learn your lesson or you're not. And I hope the people in California are paying attention to this. It matters who you elect as your representatives. It matters who you elect as governor, as your mayor. Start paying better attention. I love the message that Samantha had.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Kaylee?
Yeah, I think it's important to, even though one man lit the fire, the fact that this fire was able to grow and burn down thousands of homes, destroy thousands of people's their property. I mean, that only happens if you have layers upon layers of bureaucratic inefficiency and failure that made that possible in the first place. We talk about the smoldering underbrush, and I think one of the interesting things that he mentioned was that when the firefighters are out there trying to put out a fire, they actually don't try to put it out completely because they can't. They just try to suppress it. That's what one of the officials described. And I can't help but wonder that if they had the adequate resources, if the water reservoirs had been full like they were supposed to, would they have been able to do more than just suppress that? Would they have been able to put it out completely? I bet more parents like Samantha are asking that question.
Indeed. Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.